Welcome in, everybody, to Rock Down Detroit Lions. How's everybody doing tonight? Friday night, breaking it down session for the Detroit Lions. Let's get this started. Here we go.
Wants to throw it to Sewell. He caught it. He Sewell on the first down. Oh, yes. The big man dives down the 31-yard line. Oh, that is beautiful. Fields looking, pressured, hit from behind, taken down. Aiden Hutchinson got him.
No respect.
So, we look like we're ready. This is day one.
No respect.
All right, and we're back, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rock Down Detroit Lions, Friday edition of Off the Cuff, covering the Detroit Lions and Vikings pregame show. And early Merry Christmas to everybody, just in case I don't speak to anybody or do another video or anything. I hope you all are doing well and enjoying your family time. I'm not expecting a ton of people tonight. I think everyone's probably a little bit tied up and busy. I didn't prepare a whole lot, but I have a few keys to the game I wanted to talk about. And this is a pretty darn important game. As you can tell, Derek is not with us tonight. He's doing family stuff, and wish him well. Hope he's doing well tonight. So it's all on the line. I mean, just like the thumbnail says, this is the battle for the North crown. And I know it doesn't feel like it to many of us. And it's kind of weird saying it because, you've got a Vikings team that started off real slow. And they started coming back, and they haven't had a quarterback in weeks, many weeks. But they're hanging in there. And that's because the Lions allowed themselves to hang in there and not wrap this thing up a couple of weeks ago. So here we are. We're heading into week 16. It is a critical game. The Lions have to win. And I guess to cover the seeding aspect to this, if the Lions win this game on Sunday, they are guaranteed the third seed. They will be the NFC North champions for the first time in like 30 years. And they still have a shot at the 1 seed. And the way that works out is they have to win out without a doubt. And if they win out, they should be guaranteed the 2 seed. It's that simple. Doesn't matter what anybody else does. If the Lions win out, they should be guaranteed the 2 seed. If the San Francisco 49ers lose 2, or I believe, no, they have to lose 2. They can't tie 3, which it wouldn't happen anyway. But if they lose 2, then the Lions, if they win out, have a shot at the 1 seed. And I believe that's all that needs to happen. And it's a lot to expect the LA Rams to beat them in week 18 and the Ravens to beat the 49ers this Sunday. So it's a big game for the Ravens, for the Lions anyway. And then we need some help. I mean, it's just that simple. We need some help. If we want a shot at the 1 seed, we need some help from, the rest of the NFL. Whether we get it or not, we'll see. I will say this, though. I mean, I don't expect the 49ers to lose to too many teams. I don't see the, Eagles losing to too many teams the rest of the way. And the Cowboys are kind of stuck. I mean, they still have a shot at the 2 seed. And depending on what the Lions do, they could be stuck at the 5th seed. So that's it. I'm going to jump into the chat and see who's in this evening. Sorry. It's been a long day. I traveled back and forth to Detroit with my son, doing some Christmas shopping, and got to visit another Detroit Lion fan out there. Dew works out at the Micro Center. Got to visit him today. So Lone Wolf says, Merry Christmas to everybody. Merry Christmas, Lone Wolf, to you too. And Gajan Dusage says, what's up, brother? Big game this week. It is, man. It is. And ignore this message that says send stars to show your support. I don't know why that stuff's in there. I got to figure out how to get it out. So don't worry about it. Welcome in mile marker 301. That's right. So what's everybody doing this weekend? You got big plans other than the game? I mean, we got Christmas Eve. We got, Christmas weekend here. I assume everyone's going to be doing family stuff, but if you want to share some of your family activities, or is it movie night, Christmas movie night for the weekend? I'm going to be doing some of that as soon as I get done with this tonight. So, all right. How's everybody feeling about the Lions? Because we're going to jump into the Vikings first. And like I said, I didn't prepare a ton because I think it's pretty straight up. This is a tough game. Whether you believe it or not, it's a tough game for the Lions offense. I do not really believe this should be a tough game for the Lions defense, as long as they don't come off of this big win that they just had against Dan Campbell's mentor. The game that's been circled since they knew what the schedule was going to be. As long as they don't come off of that game in some huge slump. I mean, you know how it goes. You get a giant win, and it's like all the air is just let out of the bag. And it's hard to recover because so much anxiety and pressure and, everything going into that game. And they get deflated. And everything is, they just exercised everything out of them. They're spent. But these are trained athletes. I hope these guys bounce back the right way. James Willis says the Lions D needs to get to Mullen. We do. We need a big game from Aiden Hutchinson. And I'll go into some of our defensive strategy, at least my strategy, kind of some things that I see. But this is a big game for Aiden to show out. Like, he needs to show everybody what he's about this weekend. It's the biggest game right now of the season, right here, right now. And he's got to show out. Peter says he doesn't like the Cowboys game. I don't think anybody did. I know I didn't. That game I circled as a Lions loss in the very beginning of the season. But if they play the way that they did against the Broncos, they can win that game. Cowboys, I feel, are very vulnerable. I'm not going to call them frauds. I know a lot of people have been calling the Cowboys frauds, where they've been exposed or whatever. I think that every team has vulnerabilities. I just think the Cowboys showed a few more the last couple of weeks. So David Petrock says, hey, Will, I'm hearing a lot of talk about the Vikings defense. Ben Johnson was apparently fired by Flores. Ooh, I didn't know that. I'm hoping he's got more creativity for this week. I did not know that he was fired by Flores. So thank you for sharing that information. But you know what? So back-to-back weeks, you've got Dan Campbell going up against his mentor, and now you've got Ben Johnson going up against somebody he's probably just a little bit pissed at, right? So Colt Klaus says, we just need to run the ball right at the Cowboys. Yeah, hopefully we do in week 17. All right, so let me jump into a few things about this defense. And this is some of the things that I've noticed, and there were some other people that noticed the same thing, but confusion with this defense that Flores is running. And it's a weird defense. And what I mean by weird is they're doing things that most teams do in the red zone, but they're doing it the entire length of the field. So they're not just, putting in max pressure or max coverage in the red zone. They're doing it from, end zone to end zone. And that's kind of tough to scheme up against when you disguise it the way that the Vikings do. Kajan says, just stop the run and we should win this game. Hope the offense is getting hot right now. I'm worried about Jefferson. We know that Jefferson's coming back, and unless I miss something today, he's coming back, and I don't like his route running. I don't like his ability on the field. And before I give too much of my defensive things away, I don't think that we have a safety or a cornerback on this team that can really defend Jefferson. It is a two-man job. And I don't know if the Lions are going to give up two men. I don't know if they're going to play zone. I hope they do. You're darn right there, James Willis. Addison's pretty darn good too. He really is. All right, so this Vikings defense, man, we've got confusion in disguise. That's just what they do. Ben Johnson had this to say about it. He said, yeah, it's the two extremes. In certain situations offensively, we always talk about, hey, they're either max coverage or max pressure as a general philosophy. A lot of teams do that down in the red zone, but the Vikings defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, has kind of taken that to a new extreme. At any time and at any moment, it's been fun this week. Let me rephrase that. At any time and at any moment, it's been fun this week trying to dissect their defense. They do a lot and it's hard, but our staff's done a nice job trying to narrow down some things that we can key in on. And I really feel like there is some things that the Lions can key in on this week. First and foremost, though, their defense is ranked 11th overall. So this is a pretty tough defense all the way around. 10th in run defense, 8th in pass coverage, 32nd, though, in pass rush. And that one kind of threw me for a loop. You hear so much about Danielle Hunter and how he's leading in sacks and what they're doing on this defense and how they're getting to the quarterback. How are they 32nd, according to PFF, in pass rush? So if that's true, if that measurement is accurate, why would we be worried? We have a top-rated offensive line that is pretty healthy going into this game. So you would think that we shouldn't be worried, but that's not the case, especially after some of the tape that I was able to watch. They really mix it up. So it's not just Danielle Hunter. You've got to worry about the linebackers and the safeties primarily. I'm not seeing a whole lot of blitzing out of the cornerbacks. The defensive ends, they're doing their thing. Danielle Hunter's doing his thing. But it's these linebackers and safeties that have me most concerned. But I believe it also opens up some things, like Ben Johnson said, that they can key in on. So overall, Danielle Hunter is a 76.6 PFF grade. His rush defense is only a 47.9, or his run defense. His pass rush is 78.1. And of course, he's leading the league in sacks with 17 right now. So it's clear, right? I mean, the Lions have to neutralize Danielle Hunter. And how do you do that? Well, we're probably going to see a lot of Dan Skipper. What I would hope that we see is more 21 and 22 personnel. We need more backs, more tight ends. You utilize, the heavier personnel groups, two back sets, and two tight ends. And you can dial it up from there. I mean, we've all seen what Jahmyr Gibbs can do out of the backfield, whether he's catching the ball, running the ball, the side hitch pass that they threw that he dropped versus the Bears. I mean, that's a pass that is wide open, I believe, in this game. He's just got to catch it. Let me jump back into some chat here. Because John says, Hunter and Smith are lion killers. I see them in my nightmares as a fan. Man, I hope not. Hopefully you wake up Monday morning next week with no more nightmares, because we're going to get this victory on Sunday. Lions are wrapping this thing up. So here's what I kind of took away from watching some tape this week. Picking up the blitz is going to be the key, right? I mean, I don't think that's any secret. The Vikings like to disguise this really heavy, and it's kind of this all or nothing plan that they've used most of the season. Safeties, Harrison Smith, Josh Melitis, along with the linebacker, Ivan Pace Jr., seem to bring the most heat, the most pressure. So if you know that, right, you know that going into the game, those are the guys that you key in on. Jared Goff needs to kind of have that side vision of, all right, when I see them moving up, if they start coming, at the snap, I know who's open. I know, and that's where, your guys like Sam Laporta, St. Brown, and whoever else is on the field, real heady guys can see that, notice that, and know, all right, my option is now here. I've got to go to this spot. The play has changed. And that happens like that. I mean, it's instant. You're seeing them coming at you, and this is no longer a slant. I'm doing a 7-yard dig, or I'm doing a 5-yard in, or I'm doing a 3-yard out, or whatever the play call is. So with them bringing the most amount of pressure, I do believe that this is going to leave the Vikings open to some big plays over the middle. And guess what? That's where the Lions eat all day long. That is their bread and butter. Now, I would assume that Brian Flores is going to throw a wrench into this and try to stop that, knowing that when you're rushing your linebackers and safeties like this and Danielle Hunter, there's wide open field right there between the hashes. So be that as it may, I think that Sam Laporta could have a big game until you look at the coverage ability from the linebackers. Really good in coverage. He may be more of a decoy this game to start the game or end the game. Who knows? There's going to be two halves in this game. I guarantee it. But I really think that this is an opportunity to drag Jameson Williams as your third option. Now remember, 2.6 seconds is the average for Jared Goff. So it's going to be bang, bang, bang. And if Jameson Williams is up to the task to be that third option and dragging across the middle, could you imagine hitting J-Mo in a wide open middle of the field because nobody's expecting it? It's going to work a couple of times, but he's probably going to take it to the house. So I think that this is a great opportunity. Yep, St. Brown's probably not going to get a ton, or maybe, Laporta's not going to get a ton. But this could be a perfect recipe for Jameson Williams to bust out. It really could be, because no one's going to be expecting it. They're going to expect to, lean heavily on Sam Laporta and Gibbs and Monty and St. Brown. So I believe that this is opening up an option for him. And again, 2.6 seconds is key. Goff has been pretty good tossing the ball under 2.6 seconds, pretty accurate. He just has to trust it this weekend. He really does. Pick up the blitz, see the blitz, key in on the blitz, and just, get in front of it. If the Lions can be successful winning their one-on-ones, they got to stay tight in their details this weekend. I mean, super tight. They cannot get out in left field. The Lions will find these vulnerabilities in the defense, and I think Ben Johnson's going to have his way with the Vikings as long as they can stay tight. Like I said earlier, safeties are really good. Really good in run defense support and coverage. Cameron Bynum, Harrison Smith, Josh Melitus, all three of them. I believe they're PFF grades. Here, let me just take a look. Yeah, all three of their PFF grades. I mean, you're Anthony Barr, linebacker, 85.2 in coverage. Ivan Pace Jr., 82.3. Cornerback, Mekhi Blackman, 78.7. Cameron Bynum, safety, 76.9. Joquan Williams, 76.1. Harrison Smith, 74.7. Even Daniil Hunter, 74.1. Don't forget about Brian Asamoah, 72.8. Jordan Hicks, 72.6. I mean, this is an insane defense. If they've done one thing right over in Minnesota, it's established a defense. As where last season, they let up a lot of points. They scored a lot of points. They let up a lot of points. They lost a lot of games because of their defense. They shored up some things this season. Hasn't been a perfect season for them. It's been a rough season. But they got some players, man. They really do. And I'm not trying to put us all in this, crap, we're going to lose this game. It's just, if we win this game and we win by a lot, that just should say a lot about the Lions. It shouldn't say anything about the Vikings, because they have a stout defense. Let me roll into the chat, see if we got anything else. Gajan Dusage says, we win Sunday, I won't sleep. There you go. You'll be up putting presents or whatever, waiting for Santa Claus, right? So, again, I really expect Jameson Williams to get involved in this game. I almost think like he has to, using his speed, get to the spot quickly, while Sam and St. Brown eat up the corners, during that safety blitz that they run quite a bit. And if Sam and St. Brown can keep those corners and linebackers busy, Jameson is potentially going to be open. He just needs sure hands this weekend. I would not be surprised again. If J-Mo breaks one in this game, I wouldn't be surprised one bit if the Lions bait the Vikings in and just even throw one over top and let J-Mo go and get it. Finally catch one in stride. Because that's what's going to happen when you blitz your linebackers and your safeties and Daniil Hunter, and you're crashing down the line. You're not taking into account that I don't know what J-Mo runs anymore after the injury, but even if it's a 4.3, with his length and the fact that he only gets faster as he runs longer, you let him get loose, and if Jared Goff will finally just feel confident enough to just throw the darn ball deep, we'll have some opportunity for Jamel to do some nice things this weekend. And we saw it last weekend, right? I mean, even though he was overthrown, they tried to throw it to Jamel deep, and what that did is that set the Broncos back. And they said, "Well, wait a second, we can't just stay up on these guys. They're gonna go deep on us." And it kind of resets the chessboard, if you will. You know, if you're getting eaten up, if the Lions are having a tough time, they have a couple 3-and-outs because, you know, they're stacking the box and they're sending a heavily disguised pressure. Throw it deep, back them up. You know, if you catch one and it goes the distance, great. It'll work, but it's not always going to work that easy. So sometimes you just got to throw passes that aren't going to click just to be able to back them up a little bit. The other option I really like here, and someone said it a minute ago, was just run the ball. Colt Klaus said that. He said, we just need to run the ball right at the Cowboys. Well, we need to do the same thing at the Vikings. And what I believe could happen here is if we do some shotgun sets, which I believe that the Goff is probably going to be in the shotgun quite a bit, but delayed handoffs. I know it doesn't always mix with the blitz to do a delayed handoff, but if you read it right, which I'm positive Goff can do, if they're coming, obviously you're not doing a delayed handoff. But sometimes when they're coming, and depending on who's blitzing where, that delayed handoff gets pulled back, and now you're tossing it over the top and you're using your running back. You know, you fake it. You're using your running back as a blocker. So if we mix it up with a delayed handoff here or there, you know, you keep a running back by Goff, you know, to pick up the blitz, and then use them as a delay. Then use them as, you know, someone you could dump the ball off to, someone that could do a quick pitch, or, you know, can do a screen pass or something, you know, through the middle. There's a lot of options. For instance, if the Vikings decide to drop 8 in coverage, what happens? That short to intermediate zone right there in the middle of the field, it just gets wide open. Goff can hand the ball off, go 5 to 7 yards. You can dump the pass. You can shovel pass. There's a lot of different options he can do to take advantage of this defense to get us 5 to 7 yards at a clip. So I expect the Lions not only to use Jameson Williams a little bit more this weekend, but I'm expecting to see some different scheme in the running game. A little bit more delayed handoff, patient running style at times, feel out the defense, and then mix it up. The biggest part of this for me, Ben Johnson has to really be a mixologist this weekend. You know, to use a bartender word, he has to be a mixologist. Every other play has got to be kind of something different. Whether we're utilizing the heavy, you know, personnel groups, 21, 22 personnel or not, it's got to be different. We can't go in running the same stuff against this defense. So at the end of the day, look, Goff has to be decisive. He's got to throw with conviction. He's got to trust himself, got to trust his pocket and his awareness. He can't get skittish or jumpy. He may eat some shots. He may take a couple of shots staying in there. You know, you staying in there that extra nanosecond, that he hangs in there could bear some big fruit too. You know, bigger risk, bigger reward. I don't want to see Goff hurt. But if he just stays in there and, you know, gets the pass out, I think we'll be all right. I don't think it's any surprise. So mile marker 301 says, I think we will win this one. And I'm looking forward to Goff having nice pockets. And that's where I'm going next. Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, they have to be perfect. I don't want people to say that Goff needs everything to be perfect, because he doesn't. And he's shown that. But in this game, you're going to have to be perfect on the outside. I feel like the Lions do a pretty good job picking up the middle blitz already. But my concerns really lie with this blitz scheme where the Vikings are sending the safeties and the linebackers all at once while Danielle Hunter is on the outside just wreaking havoc, you know, on either side. When everybody's engaged, that's when things get, you know, I guess bad for your offensive line. Everyone's engaged, and then a linebacker comes flying through or a safety comes flying through. And then Goff's on the ground and the ball's on the ground, and it's just a mess. So winning the one-on-ones are going to be super important. running this heavy scheme, bigger personnel, I feel is going to be important until they figure it out, until that they, dial in this defense and what this defense is going to do. Then I think that they'll go to what they normally do. They run a lot of 12, a lot of 11 personnel. So that's really it from the Vikings defensive side of the ball. Again, this is a tough defense. I think that we're going to be in for a game. I'm not so worried about our defense going up against Mullins, is it? I just don't see him being a big factor in this game, especially if Aiden, can finally have a decent game. So I'm going to pull up the offensive side. All right, so give me 1 second here. So Nick Mullins right now has got 2 games under his belt. He has 46 attempts, 35 completions, a 76.1 completion rate. He's thrown for 386 yards, 8.4 yards per attempt, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions. He's got a 65 overall PFF rating. And I mean, that's just not great stats. His completion rate, pretty darn good. If the Lions, let me go back to one thing about what the Vikings are doing versus what the Lions just did this last weekend. When you look at what the Lions did against the Broncos, where, I was begging. A lot of you guys that have been around watching, this channel this season, I've been begging week in and week out. Man, can we just get in a heavier nickel package? Can we just send some cornerbacks and some DBs or, some safeties and start utilizing a linebacker in a DB blitz? And we finally did it against the Broncos, and we had our way with them. That's exactly what we're going to see from the Vikings. They just do it a heck of a lot more often, and I feel like they do it better than what the Lions just did against the Broncos. And that's kind of a scary thought, because the Lions, they played great. It was one of the best defensive performances that I've seen all season. Probably the most complete game I've seen all season. And it seemed like it was natural to them. It seemed like that style of defense that the Lions ran was very natural. Whereas the other defense that Aaron Glenn is so damn stubborn with and wouldn't get out of was unnatural to them. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, because that's what I saw. It's like the first, 5-6 games of the season playing great. And then the Ravens kick our butt. Aaron Glenn, something happened. And we go back to this vanilla defense where we're getting eaten alive. And it was just so unnatural for our defense to be in that position. And then against the Broncos, we kind of go back to what was working in the beginning of the season, but we threw a few more wrinkles in it with the DB and the linebacker blitz. And that was the most natural, carefree defense I've seen all season long. So I hope they continue doing it. I really do. Hey, Mike P, Merry Christmas to you, my man. Hope you're doing well. Hope your family's doing well. And Mile Marker 301 says, who are all these new guys? And will we see them play? I like Irvin. I don't think we're going to see any new guys really this weekend. I'm hoping Irvin gets the call up. But at the same time, I'm kind of nervous. What are we going to do when his last call up is gone? Are they going to sign him? Or are we going to, try to find somebody else? I did a video yesterday about Malik Reed, and then I heard Sebastian was let go today or yesterday. So there's some options, but I hate the Lions to have to keep starting over. But Kendall Vildor, he's here to stay. He took Jerry Jacobs' job. So I don't think we need to worry about Jerry Jacobs, screwing things up on Sunday. He played excellent in the beginning of the season, but again, I feel like he was a product of what AG did. In the beginning of the season, they played the defense that was really natural. and they got away from it, and Jerry Jacobs got eaten alive. And then we go back to the defense that works, and it played right into the hand of Kendall Vildor because that's the defense that he was used to. So we've got some good fill-ins, you know. I feel like we're in good shape. We still have a few designations left on injured reserve as well. Casey says, thanks for your fair and sober Lions content this season, Will. God bless you and your family in the new year. Merry Christmas, go Lions. Right back at you, Casey. I certainly appreciate your compliment and comment. It means a lot. It's been a long season, and we're still not done. We got a long way to go. Terry Sim says, just need our offense to give Goff some time and get our running game going, and Goff will do the rest. Let's go Lions. I'm with you, my man. I'm with you. Lauren McQuaig says, Merry Christmas, Will. Merry Christmas to you too, Lauren. Appreciate it. Yeah, I saw that, Lauren. He pulled up, Jerry Jacobs pulled up on a hammy. I didn't see that he was gone for the season, but I did mention this to Derek the other day. I said, whether he's hurt or not, I found it kind of odd that he pulled a hammy after he got benched. Whatever the case is or may be, I wish Jerry Jacobs well. I hope that he recovers. And maybe he pulled it, being the gunner. He hasn't been the gunner all season, and then he was versus the Broncos. So who knows? I don't know when it happened. I didn't see it happen. I didn't know if it happened in practice or during the game or a little bit of both. Yeah, Mile Marker 301 says, I think everyone saw it but AG, and that's the defense that I was speaking to. I believe that they played great in the beginning. They got away from it. Now they played great against the Broncos, and they kind of found themselves again, right? I mean, that's kind of where we're at. We're starting from scratch all over again at the end of the season. Let's just hope that whatever the Lions are cooking up right now works this Sunday, and let's be done with it. Let's wrap up this NFC North, get the crown for the first time in 30 years, and get ready to win 2 more games and hopefully get a better seed. So I was starting to talk about the Lions defense here, and let me just make sure I didn't miss any chat. I don't think so. So as far as the Lions defense goes, I'm almost expecting them to do the same exact thing that we just did versus the Broncos. And I listened to St. Brown today at the media event that he had. I believe it was yesterday. And, he was speaking to consistency in how when he had a couple of bad games, versus the Bears and the Packers there, that, he needed to get back to his consistency, and his game versus the Broncos got him back to that. But the one thing that he said that I guess kind of opened up my eyes about what kind of person he is and where this team is going and the leadership on this team is that he said nothing else matters other than the team wins and this team getting better and that they consistently get better year after year. And that's, what they're doing right now. They're getting better. Every year they've had more wins. And he said that too. But he also said that one of the guys, and I couldn't hear the name, but it's somebody on the staff with the Lions, handed everybody a mirror and told them to write something down on it that would help them become a better leader every day and look at it every day. And he said he put it in his locker and he looks at it every day. So the internal leadership of the Lions players, I believe, is a great foundation. I think that they have a great team nucleus that has recognized the things that they do well. And immediately when AG went right back to the defense that was working, it almost seemed like it sparked this new energy again that the Lions already had in the beginning of the season, that they lost it. They got away from it. They didn't stay consistent. AG, I think, threw the wrinkle in of consistency and kind of upset things a little bit. And I don't know this for a fact, right? It's just based on what you read, what you see, what you hear. But if we can just stay consistent now for the rest of the season, I think great things are in front of us. I really do. Mr. Natural 467 says he's watching the Red Wings. Got you on Bluetooth. All right, man. Appreciate it. Peter Braley says, unfortunately, Jacobs still leads the team in interceptions. He's probably going to the rest of the season. Let's hope that. We don't. No, I didn't mean it that way. It's just we need more interceptions, right? He's probably not going to be on the field, so let's not hope that. I guess we need someone to step up to get more interceptions. We need more turnovers. I really want to see the guys going back to punching out the ball, and you saw that versus the Broncos. They were always trying to punch out the ball. And, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but at least try, at least try to punch out the ball. Casey says, I assume regardless of the pressers, Campbell and Holmes have a path to the Super Bowl planned out. You don't just cavalierly fall into these type of opportunities. They're not just stopping at the NFC North. I would hope not. I would hope that they continue to build upon this and to really critically think. So, sports talk with Rob. Yeah, I'll be taking calls. I'll open it up here in just a moment. But to continue answering, Casey's note there, I would hope that they have a plan, but more importantly, it's going to go back to the trade deadline. They should have had a plan then. Because now we are trying to find guys that are falling off rosters here at the tail end of the season, and none of them are big game changers. If we would have just grabbed a solid DT or a defensive end and there was some available, probably would have overpaid for him for half a season. You didn't have to give him a new contract. How much better off would this defense be right now? Because our defense is terrible in a lot of metrics. But we can put it together game by game and play better than what our stats, reflect, right? I believe that. And we saw that versus the Broncos. So stats tell part of the story. The rest of it comes from the play on the field. And any given Sunday is any given Sunday. So I still believe that there's a path. To give you the long-winded answer, there is a path. The Lions can have to continue what they did against the Broncos the rest of the season, and they have to build upon it every single week. Lone Wolf says Vikings are desperate and will put up a fight. I believe so too. I just hope that the Lions are hungry and want it more. I believe they do. I really believe they do. So with that said, let me do this. Let me get the phone on here. Make sure we don't have some crazy loop back again. And we'll get her turned on. As everybody knows and remembers, hopefully, that when I get a call, I will mute myself. I will bring them in, introduce myself to them, and then I'll bring them into the show. And we'll chat for a few minutes. All right, let me put the number. I just saw that too. The Lions won't lose again. I hope not. We need them to win out. All right, numbers in the chat. I'll bring it on in just a minute. It should be in the chat. There it goes. So if you guys want to call in, the numbers in the chat, 313-312-0348. Lines are open. And let's see what some of you guys have to say. I'd love to hear some other breakdowns for once. So Lions defense, that's where I was going. Aiden's got to have a big game. DBs need to do the exact same thing they did against the Broncos. I think the Jefferson has to be doubled. And what I mean by that is at least, man-to-man coverage with Sutton. Sutton's got to trail him. I would hope that Sutton's going to travel this game and that they're not going to flip-flop, sides. But we need a roving safety, whether it's a single high safety and you bring another safety down into the box. And that safety's got to kind of roam too over top of Jefferson. I think that we're going to have this man and a half type of coverage this weekend to limit Jefferson. And he can have a big game as long as he doesn't score and nobody else scores for the Vikings. The run defense, I'm not so worried about. I think we'll be okay there. It's just when Jefferson starts going off, that's when things get kind of tilted. If we're not getting to Mullins, then things are really going to get tilted. So the Lions need to win multiple fronts here. They can let Jefferson have a decent game. And by decent, I'm saying, 90, 100 yards. That's a decent game. Anything more than 100, and we might see some trouble. Because once he gets flowing, man, he is one of the best to do it. And like I said earlier, I do not think that we have one guy on this, defensive backfield that can hang with Jefferson one-on-one. Cam Sutton may surprise us. He might. But I haven't seen it this season. What I've seen this season is he plays pretty well, and then he lets up a lot of big plays. All right, we got a call coming in. I'll be right back. I'm not real sure what happened there. I didn't catch the person's name, but he was asking what the record was for the Lions in Minnesota. And I, of course, don't know that stat right offhand, but I'll go ahead and look it up here. So the all-time record looks like Minnesota Vikings are 80 wins, 41 losses, and 2 ties against the Lions all time. For a while there, the Vikings were the cream of the crop in the NFC North. We know that. But I don't think that record really matters a whole lot right now. All right, phone lines open, 313-312-0348. Lauren McQuaig says, something JMO said to the media on Monday or Tuesday. He said practices were near, if not full speed, faster than any other practices before Denver. Coaches switched it up in ways. I love it. I love it. I love it. And that's the Dan Campbell way. Joseph Austin says, amazing how much better the secondary is when there's pressure on the quarterback. Yes, great statement. I couldn't agree more. And Lauren McQuaig, lost that one. Lauren McQuaig says, I think we'll still see lots of 4.25s from AG. I hope so, but I want to see that 3.26 back. That to me was the perfect time to run it, perfect opportunity for the Lions to use it, and I think they did it right. What are your thoughts on Iffy? Iffy is the man. He had a beautiful game last weekend, and for somebody that didn't get a ton of playing time this season, that was called upon, next man up, right? Dan Campbell, you know how he is. Next man up. Iffy, you need to make some plays. And he made some plays. He played out of his darn mind. And I think he's going to have, a continuation of that this weekend. If he's pumped, man, that guy is pumped up. You watch him, whenever you get to see him, whether it's on the field or after a game, he's pumped up. All right, we've got another call coming in. Give me just a minute. All right, we've got Sports Talk with Rob on the line. Rob, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Merry Christmas, man.
Merry Christmas. So yeah, there's a few things I want to mention. Of this first thing first, the game that we have Sunday. Some things I agree with you when you say that we definitely need to make sure we can retain Justin Jefferson. I don't believe you're going to stop a guy like that, but you could just do the best you can.
Yeah.
Also, don't sleep on the rookie that they got, Adelson. he's a very explosive receiver, and he could go off as well. So, I mean, it's crazy that we got to mention we got to stop receivers. I think if we had a pass rush, I think it can make it a little bit more easier for the DBs to cover a lot better. Also, too, man, we're talking about the defense. Like our defense, I mean, it's a lot of work. But our offense got to make sure. I noticed in this season, I want to get your input on this. That yes, a lot of the mistakes the defense have done is on them, but I feel like a lot of times the offense at times they make it easy for them, which is crazy because we are a team that can put up points. There's been times where I was like, dang, like okay, they'll score a touchdown, maybe score 2 touchdowns, then they'll have like 2 or 3 and out in a row. You know what I'm saying? Where it put pressure on our defense, because they have a problem staying off the field at times. So what's up to put on that?
I mean, I think you're spot on with the offense has definitely made it difficult on the defense at times. But I think if I were to look at the grand scheme of the entire season, right? If you look at the grand plan of the whole season, I think that the offense has put the defense in a lot of great positions more often than not. But I think that they've had their butts handed to them a couple of times in a few games, actually, that made it difficult on the defense. But I think if we, if we look at everything, I don't know who wouldn't agree that the offense clearly is the best team on this team. Week in and week out, they put up points. But there's been times where Ben Johnson calls a bad game or Goff is under pressure, fumbling, throwing interceptions, having a couple of bad games. But I would kind of retort with this. I mean, when our offense is having a bad game, that's when we need our defense the most. It's like, guys, we're getting our butts kicked. We need you to step up for us. And when they both fail, then we're in trouble. And that's kind of what we've seen this season. One falls, the other falls. It's not, one falls, the other picks them up. It's like they're both playing decent and the offense is playing great, or the offense is kind of having a rough game and the defense isn't helping. There's been a couple of moments where the defense has stepped up, but I think I'll shorten it up by just leaving you with that. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, great answer. Also, too, man, I want to talk about these the remaining of these games as well. And I think I said it before on the show you and Derek had. Look, we all know that everything they need to work on, that we need to get better at. But I think as the Lions, we definitely win this game Sunday. That would be everything to get this win at Minnesota, pushing the division and playoffs.
100%.
Absolutely get this win Sunday.
Yep.
But I want them to just build the momentum. We just look. This play good enough where you're like, you know what? Win or lose, I'm proud of what we did. We executed the right way. We played hard. What I'm saying? I want to see the improvement now going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because, we know when it comes to football, all you got to do is be hot at the right time.
Yep.
It's time to build this momentum and just see if y'all can get hot at the right time. This is what the playoffs is all about in the NFL. Look at Eli Manning. That Giants team that won 2 Super Bowls, it wasn't the best team in the regular season. They was probably the most inconsistent team in the NFL at those times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
But I'm sorry, what you say?
No, I said I do. Yeah, I mean it's funny you bring up Eli because you're talking about one of the most unathletic quarterbacks to win a couple of Super Bowls. That's him, and then that team on both sides of the ball. You're right; they were not very consistent, but they found a way to get hot, and it followed them for 5-6 games in a row, and they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think as Lions fans that we just need to, just look at it that way.
Yeah.
Because look, I would love the Lions to win the Super Bowl this year. I feel like that would be the best story ever. 20, 30 years from now, that'd be one of the best documentaries ever. You know what I'm saying? But
I think it would, and I think it'll go right along with It'll go right along with the Lions hiking up the prices in the same season before they won anything.
Yep, absolutely. And but for saying that, right, I want to be tripping if we go in the playoffs, say we lose, right? You know, so I would prefer at least the playoff win, but say we lose, I will still be fine because I think, you know, I hear people talk about Brad and Dan, like, you know, with Detroit fans, man, you can't satisfy them 100%.
No.
But I feel like, for me, I'm so excited what's going on. I'm excited about our future. I'm excited about the culture change. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to talk about championships, all this other stuff, yes, you got to have the players, or you got to have the coaches and staff. But you don't got that culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's going to be really tough for you to win championships. You look at the Patriots. You know, even the Dallas Cowboys. You know, with they delusional stuff. You know, these teams that won, they have culture. You know what I'm saying? Where it don't matter if, you know, hey, we don't win this year. You know what? We know we're gonna be there eventually because we build something that a lot of teams don't have. So,
right.
I'm excited about that. You know, I think, you know, Detroit is it's a destination where people want to play. So that's why I'm more also excited about.
Yeah,
like
it's becoming one. It's becoming one for sure. It is.
Yeah,
all right, so let me do this.
Man,
I got another call coming in too, Rob, but I think what I want to do is I want to answer some of the things, or I want to give some answers to some things that you just brought up. And I'm going to wind it back to Addison. And you're 100% right. I haven't gotten into Addison or Hawkinson yet, but Addison is a very explosive wide receiver himself. He's got 824 yards on the season. He's caught 62 balls. So even if we bottle up Jefferson and we trail him with, you know, a safety over the top, yes, we still have to worry about Addison and what he can bring to the table. And then we also have Hawkinson that's also a problem. We know that Hawkinson is an explosive tight end if he's allowed to be, and he can catch the rock, you know, just about anywhere. So it's time that the Lions really do something different in this game and utilize their strengths where they have them. But if they do what they did just last weekend and not give Mullins an opportunity to pass the ball, I think it's going to limit Hawkinson and Addison's ability, or it's going to give Hawkinson more opportunity to get more catches in the game, but he's not going to go for many yards. I don't think that he's going to beat us deep. I think that the next best deep threat past Jefferson obviously is Addison. And then you've got the Vikings run game, and I'm not too worried about that because we still have a pretty stout run defense as long as we're not selling out, you know, on the run to stop the pass. So there's a lot of vulnerabilities. I think that you brought it up, and you're 100% right that it's not just Jefferson. There's other vulnerabilities on this defense that we need to worry about on their offense. And as far as being a destination, what we're building in Detroit, what Dan and Brad and the rest of the team is building is a destination, you know, landing spot for some of these free agents. And without culture, you know, it's just like, you know, you can't build a house without a foundation. You can't build a winning organization without a foundation and culture. And that starts with the right players. And it starts with a healthy cap. And it starts with, you know, having some draft picks and some draft capital. And they're now turning that page in 2024 where everything is in line. Now it's time to win. So even if we don't get to that spot where everybody's dreaming to get this season, next season, man, it's all on the line again because it's wide open for the Lions next season.
Yeah. But I can say this real quick, and I'll be thinking about what you said. Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, hey, we got to go all out, man. You know, ain't no time to be hesitant now. Got to go all out. You know what I'm saying? Whatever's in y'all bag, go deep in the bag, and you know what I'm saying, and just go full out at this moment. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it too.
You, man.
I appreciate you too, Rob. You know, please call in every week or anytime you get a chance and you're free. And I wish you, your family, a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And let's go Lions, man.
Absolutely, man. King of the North. Let's go.
All right. Thanks. You take care, Rob.
Right.
All right. Sports Talk with Rob. He said it best, man. The Lions have more vulnerabilities to worry about with the Vikings. And it starts with Addison. After we bottle up Jefferson, And then we still have to worry about Hawkinson. Everyone's ending in an N on this team. Hawkinson, Addison, Jefferson. We've got to wrap them up. Shout out to Lion Syndicate. He says, we're here. We are. The Lions are here, and we're here. We're ready to take it. We're going to take it, and we're going to own it this season. J Mommy says, I hope the defense did figure it out. They looked really good last week. They did. So Hawkinson never has yak, says Joseph. He doesn't have a ton. When he was, catching balls from Stafford, he had a few good games with some yak. Not so much with Jared Goff. It seemed like they never really hit it off. Jared Goff and Hawkinson. I remember a couple of games that, he did really well. The season before he left, I think he had one or two breakout games there towards the end of the season in 2021, and that was about it. So we haven't seen much out of Hawkinson. I mean, he's had some great games for Minnesota. But, in the absence of Jefferson, it was kind of easy to bottle up that offense, and Addison was able to take over. Nowhere near, with what Jefferson is. And my question is this: are the Vikings or is Mullins going to target Jefferson just because he's in the game? Or is Jefferson going to become a decoy and they're still going to utilize Addison? That's the one thing that the Lions are going to have to figure out quickly, is where they need to deploy, their defense to be ready, to back up whoever the cornerback is on Jefferson and Addison. All right, so the phone line's back open. I apologize, I missed a couple of calls there, but we like to hear what Rob has to say too, man. He's always got a lot of great things to say. Eric Myers, I saw your message a minute ago. I appreciate it, and Merry Christmas to you too, man. I do hope that we can handle Hawkinson. We have, for the most part. I don't think that he's ever had a really good game against us. Matter of fact, let me pull up some stats. Let's talk about that real quick. We'll go back to December 11th, 2022. And quick recap here. If you remember last season, the Lions kind of did something different where, and I might as well just look at the stats first. Yeah, first game, we bottled up Jefferson. And Jeff Okudah was able to really play physical with Jefferson in that game and kind of kept him off of being able to break into his route. Cam Sutton's going to have to do that. He's going to have to do exactly what Jeff Okudah did, just better. And the first game last season, we bottled him up. He didn't do anything. Second game, Jefferson goes for 223 yards on 11 catches, just running wide open. TJ Hawkinson had 77 yards on 6 catches. And of course, they had Adam Thielen back then, who he was the wild card. I mean, he was the guy on that team, outside of Jefferson. So he had 7 catches for 64 yards, 425 yards of passing by Minnesota in the last game last season. Lions won 34-23. So we let them pass on us all day, didn't let them run. Delvin Cook had 23 yards on the ground. And it feels like it's going to be an eerily similar situation this Sunday, where I feel like we're going to bottle up the run, but we're going to try to stop Jefferson just like we did in the first game of last season. That didn't help us a whole lot because I think we lost the first game, if memory serves me correctly. Let me take a look. And that would have been the September 25 game. And Lions lost 28-24. And in that game, Dalvin Cook had 96 yards on the ground. So we let Dalvin cook. He was able to run. But Kirk Cousins only threw for 260 yards the entire game. Dalvin Cook had a TD. Alexander Madison had a TD on the ground. And KJ Osborne and Adam Thielen both had a TD through the air. Those are some short passes, if memory serves me right. So, man, it's almost like pick your poison, right? You do some things really well, You lose, you do some things really well in the second game, you win. You got to pick your poison. We've got to figure out who we need to bottle up. Let me go back into the chat here. I missed a few. All right. Joseph says, I like to think the Lions have figured it out, and I'm going to roar into the playoffs. All right. I think we will too. Brent says, hey, just got here. Did we talk about AG and being aggressive with Iffy yet? A little bit. We talked about AG being aggressive, running the same defense we did last weekend against the Broncos. But Iffy is not Iffy anymore. So Iffy is going to be a very key component to this DB and linebacker blitz again. I feel like if we use Iffy just like last weekend, we're going to have some big success. And nice to see you, Brent. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Eric Meyer says, who's the Vikings QB on Sunday? As far as we know, it's Mullins. Mullins is the one. Who knows? They could throw a wrench in it and throw Dobbs in. We have no clue, but right now it's Mullins. Brent says, I believe we do have to put pressure on the quarterback so Hawk and the others can't get a chance to get the ball. Yeah, exactly. I 100% believe in that pressure is going to be big key. I just don't think that it's going to come from the defensive line. If you remember in the pregame to the Broncos game, my biggest key to the game was allow the defensive line to kind of sit home. Remember the whole stay in your box? If you stay in your box, everything will be all right. But the minute you go outside of your box, we get into trouble. And we just weren't getting great pressure with the defensive line. So let's let the DBs cook. Let's let the DBs go do something. And the linebackers. And the Lions did it, and it was successful. And if you watched Aiden Hutchinson, especially on some of the plays off the left side of the defense, he stayed home. And when he stayed home, they couldn't run. They couldn't escape the pocket. That forced them to go to the other side of the field. It forced the ball to the other side of the field where the Lions were ready for it. And a DB would escape or a linebacker would escape and go in, get the pressure, and plays over. So I feel like it's got to be the same thing, same scenario, same type of defense. Tony B says, great show. Appreciate the compliment, my friend. Glad to see you in, and Merry Christmas to you and yours. Casey says, all the weak-kneed Stafford crybabies winging about the Lions versus the Ram playoff matchup need to know that Matt Stafford has the most interceptions in Ford Field for any quarterback. I'm going to touch on this one for 1 second because I watched a special with Rich Eisen and Whitworth, who was, I think he was a center. I think he was the center for the Rams when Stafford was there and they won the Super Bowl. And he made a very bold statement, basically stating that Lions fans do not want Matt Stafford back in the house. That Matt will play the most loose he's ever played because he's used to that place. He knows the noise. He knows the volume. He knows the fans. He knows the stadium. And in a nutshell, that it'll probably be Matt Stafford's best game ever. That we do not want to see the Rams come to Ford Field. I know a lot of you do. I personally don't. I do not want to see that defense because any given Sunday, that defense has been scary. I don't want to see it. I know it's a great story, but I'm not in this for a story. I mean, I am, but I mean, I don't know. I guess the more I think about it, I want to see Goff throw the ball down McVay's throat. I would love to see that. I honestly would, because the way that McVay threw him to the trash and had some not so nice things to say about Goff, and the way that Goff has resurrected this Lions team and the way that he's been playing, vindication would be great. But at the same time, if he were to go win a playoff game and it's not versus the Rams, that too would be great vindication for the city of Detroit, for the Detroit Lions organization. And Goff, would be the new hero in Detroit to do something that Matt Stafford couldn't do. So there's two ways to think about it. There's always two roads to the same end in most cases. Move down here. J Mommy says Stafford asked for the trade. He's not coming back. I don't think that the Lions are afraid of any team. I don't think so either. Terry Sims says, I think our defense is just going to get better. Players on our defense is getting healthier. Gardner Johnson found his way back. Hopefully Houston will be back. If McNeil comes back, this defense will be 100. I'm a little concerned about Houston. And I was asking Derek earlier today because I couldn't find accurate information, but I think we figured it out. The Lions had seven guys come back from IR, and it appears that Hendon Hooker, you got a call coming in. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right. So, like I was saying, I was trying to find some information about the IR and the designations and how many the Lions had, to come back. So, I think the answer is they have 2 left. So, they had 7 guys come back off of IR, including NFI. If NFI doesn't count, then that means the Lions have 2 left out of the 8 that every team is given. So, you have Aleem McNeil coming back, or maybe it was 3. I'm sorry. I think it was 3. So, that means Aleem McNeil comes back. James Houston could come back. And you got 1 extra. We're kind of getting to the point where IR is going to be useless anyway, because once you get past this weekend, 4 weeks, you're into the second week of playoffs, basically. So it'd be too late to really bring them back anyway. So Houston could come back. I just don't know, after the way Dan Campbell said what he said, if he's coming back or not. So let's welcome Derek with Lions Syndicate in on the line. Derek, how you doing?
What's up, Will? How are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Merry Christmas to you, man.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Sorry I couldn't be here today. I had to make some ripping and running, man. About to head out of town, as you know.
Oh yeah,
going to cheer on our Detroit Lions, man. Been listening to the show, and I heard Rob call in and stuff like that, and I think we got it, Will. I think everything you said, man. We got to watch out for the defense, because I don't think Nick Mullins is somebody we have to worry about. I think if Minnesota was smart, they would put in Josh Dobbs.
Yep.
And just say, don't turn the ball over, and he would give us the problem. But I feel like, man, that our boys are going to be ready to come play. They know what they got on the line, and they took those Cam Newton words to heart. And Jared Goff said, we don't have the weight of 30 years on our shoulders, but they do. Yeah. And I think they know that, man. And they come out and get they get this title, man. And I'm going to be there to see it and take a bunch of pictures and cheer our boys on, man.
I love it. And I'm in the same boat, man. I heard that about the way Dan Campbell said that too, is, he understands the weight on the Detroit fan base of 30 years, but the team is not practicing and playing like that. They're playing with the weight of this season and just trying to get through this season. And that's a credit to Dan Campbell for keeping these guys on task, like not thinking about everything outside, the outside noise. So that's got to be tough to do. Yeah,
it is, man. And, I think that it's our job to go ahead and talk about seeding and playoffs and all that stuff. And it's his job to keep them guys focused, man, and come out and play it. And I think that the first game that we played last year, we should have won. Dan Campbell was still in that kind of coaching, trying to figure out what to do. And I think he was still trying to find himself. And now he knows what he is. He's going to be aggressive. And I think we have a better team, obviously, than we had last year. And I think that they're going to come out and get this game, man. I don't think they're going to let it come back to Ford Field. And I think we are going to be playing for seeding after this Sunday, that the division title will be locked up and things like that. I do have a bit of a surprise for Detroit Lions fans, okay?
All right.
So I want you guys to – I was at a local shop today, and I was trying to get something to wear. I got something to wear, but I wanted something crispy. I wanted something new. So I went up to my local Fanatic shop, and they had they're getting the shipment of NFC North title stuff. If we win, he said it'll be overnighted. It should be there Monday, Tuesday. So they had the hat that we're going to get, but they had it was covered up. It was covered up with a piece of tape. And it was like, can't show this hat and stuff like that. But he told me, he said, if you want to know what it looks like, go look at the San Francisco 49ers, because they already won the NFC West, and it's going to look a lot like that. So if you guys want to know what the NFC North champion hat looks like, at least one of them anyway, go and look at the NFC West, San Francisco 49ers champion 2023, and that's what it's going to look like. So I'm excited, Will. I went out and got a fan chain. The guy tried to get me to buy the big one, but I was like, no, I can't move in this thing. So I'm ready to get down, man. I'm leaving in a few hours. As a matter of fact, I'm going to hit the bed soon, and that's one of the reasons I couldn't be on as well, man. But, hey, appreciate the work you do, man. I know you'll be cheering from the house, man. So I'm ready to get this W and come back with the with the NFC North title, man.
Yeah, I'll be home. I'll be home with the kiddos. I got to send one back to Florida, and the other one's going home from New York. So it's I'll be home. I'll be home for Christmas Eve, rooting on the Lions. And there was a funny post out, and I don't know if you ever heard if this was true or not, but the East Lansing Meyer apparently has NFC North Division shirts. Did you see that?
I did see it.
Do we know if it's true? Because I passed right by there today.
So it is true. The guy at Fanatic U told me that it was true. He told me that, you can get in a lot of trouble for that. So the rumor is that they got them off the shelf before they sold, but somebody probably got fired. I will tell you though, Will, they're a bit underwhelming. I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't know what I expected, but I'm a little underwhelmed. But yeah, so I would assume he said that apparently they cannot put it out any sooner than the game is over. Like the game has to be final before they can't put it out in the fourth quarter. They can't put it out with 3 minutes left. The game has to be final for them to put it out. So some local store probably has it, Will, and just waiting on that, that Sunday game to be over at 4:01, man, it'll be out. So hopefully, man, we get that. And you know what, bro? I think we get the win. I'm not even there's like very little doubt in my mind, man. I think the Lions are a much better team. They're much more cohesive than they were last year. I think this team again was trying to find who they are, their identity, and I know what they are, and I think they know what they are, and we gonna get it, man. So we'll have a lot to talk about next week, but I think our boys get it done.
Yeah, I think they do too. And before you go, we on Top Doe 100 says, "What up, D? Safe travels, man. Merry Christmas, Will." And I assume Merry Christmas to you too. And hey, safe travels to you, man. And go get us a victory, Derek. I wish I could have been there with you, man. Hey, I really do.
Well, let's check it out. So first of all, shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you. Yes, I am taking the Dion, the primetime 21.
All right.
I'm taking them. And I will say this. So the Lions are 2-0 when I'm in attendance. 2-0.
All right.
And the last time I drove, we scraped out a win. So I'm expecting to be 3-0, and then of course we got that playoff game, and that's 4-0, man. So as far as that whole Matthew Stafford and stuff, man, get up out of here. I welcome that. Well, I was disappointed to hear you say that, man.
Hey,
I welcome him.
I know, but that's just me. I'd rather see. I mean, I'm all about the story, but at the same time, I don't know. I want to see the Lions win, and I don't like the Rams defense. I don't.
You know what? I don't like it either, but I think it's a good. You can't match it up any better. Will, just think about this as I exit this call. Think about the storyline, man. Think about Goff exercising those demons.
Yeah.
The guy that came in and replaced him, and he went and won the Super Bowl, and all the cameras. And you already know that if that is the case, everybody's going to be talking about Stafford. Nobody's going to be really talking about Goff. And I think Goff is going to take that to heart. And I think our guys are going to play for their leader, and we get it done. I know what you feel, and the sidearm passes and all that other stuff, man. And we got to stop Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and the guy that came alive last night and the running back Williams. So we got a task, but I think our guys embrace it, man. And if you ask me, I think that's who Brad and Dan. I think Dan Campbell wants the Rams. I really do, man. He's ready to take anybody's kneecap off. So that's all I got, man. I'm about to hit the bed so I don't die this time.
All
and
right.
I will talk to y'all from Minnesota, man.
All right. Well, you take care. Safe travels, Derek.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Well, I tell you what, if I'm going to be at Meyer on Christmas Eve, then after this game, if I need to be, to get a t-shirt, but maybe Derek and I will collab on a t-shirt. I do t-shirts and I can get some released. I can get some made. I can do a special, version of an NFC division championship shirt or something like that and release it out in small quantity. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll put it together and get something ready to to go out next week. I don't know. We'll see. All right, let me jump back into the chat now. Let's see what we got going on here. Anyone here if Bugs is in or out? Asked Eric Myers. So I haven't heard anything just yet, but what I can tell you about the injury report, which I neglected, so far, Brock Wright is out with a hip. Jerry Jacobs is out with a hamstring. Jason Kabinda and CJ Gardner are still out, obviously. They have 19 days left on the evaluation period. I'm surprised that they brought Jason Kabinda back. I'm like, if you guys know me by now, you know that to me, the fullback position is a wasted position. In my opinion, I would do exactly what the Lions are doing right now, and that's use your tight end, use a linebacker, use an extra lineman, and add somebody else to your team. Because when you look at the situation that we're in, and they're trying to bring up guys and they're trying to find room for guys, if you don't have a fullback there, you have an extra spot. So now if you add Jason Kabinda back to the roster, who's going down? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But as far as Bugs, I don't think that the Lions have a choice. I think they have to roll with Bugs. I hope you guys would agree that Bugs in last week versus the Broncos, Lions played great. And you can call it a coincidence if you want. What, 85%? This is a guess. 85% of the games the Bugs has been in this season, the Lions not only won, but played defensively very well. I want to say there was only one game that he was in that the stats weren't the greatest. There wasn't a whole lot of sacks, and they might have lost the game. The game just escapes me. So I think that he has to be in. And like Brent says, yes, we need Bugs. And he also says, I think Goff wants the Rams. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't. I wouldn't be surprised. Joseph put a nice quote in. If it ain't rough, it ain't right, by Richard Hamilton. That's a good quote, man. It's a good quote. Sports Talk with Rob says the games the D-line struggle in was the games Bugs didn't play. See, there you go. There you go. See, we recognize it. If we can see this stuff, as just lowly fans and analysts, why can't they? They're the ones that do this for a living, day in and day out. It is what it is. So, all right. Well, look, we're coming up to the end of the show tonight. I will take one more call. If anybody would like to get in on tonight's show, the number is 313-312-0348. We'll take one more call, and then we're going to be heading out to do some Christmas movie night or something with the fam. And again, for anybody that's jumping in now, I want to do one thing, and that's thank you. You guys have been excellent all season long so far. So if I could do anything, it's just to thank you and I appreciate what you guys have done for me and helping this channel grow. If you're new and you like to find a good Detroit Lions channel and someone that talks a lot about Lions strategies and, stats or analytics, that's what we do. Click that subscribe button, come on in. And if everybody in right now does me one favor, and that's hit that like button, it'll help this live video get some more traction and get us some more fans jumping in on the calls, jumping in the chat, talking it up. So I appreciate y'all. And I definitely want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. And we'll be on before the new year. So we'll have some more shows in between then. So 313-312-0348 is the number to call. 313-312-0348. We got 60 more seconds. And then we're going to close the phone lines for tonight. And I want to appreciate everybody that calls in. Look, it's no stress. We're just having a conversation. You guys are just kind of speaking your mind. But I do want to ask one question because I have been very mute on this subject. And that is the Lions ticket situation. I don't know how many of you are season ticket holders. But I kind of intentionally, I did a video and I never put it together. Like I did it and I didn't edit it and I didn't put it out because I'm kind of like caught in the middle of, do I really want them to know how I feel about it? And I guess the simple answer is I do, but I don't know if it's going to do any good. And I don't know if I really want to ruffle any feathers. 20 some odd years of history with the Lions in my family. Well, 60 plus years in my family. I don't think it was a good move. I think it was bad timing. I think it was bad taste. I think that having a variance of percentages for different fans is very wrong. I think that it should have been a straight 15, 20, 30%, whatever, across the board. And now you've got fans that have been lifers that are not coming back next season because they can't afford to. And in my opinion, and I'll keep it short, this doesn't speak to the city of Detroit. Hardworking, blue collar, very supportive fans that now can't go to the games where they, save a lot, rob Peter to pay Paul just to get to one game. Not everybody has bunches of money. So there's going to be some fans out there that are not going to be joining the Honolulu Blue inside Ford Field next year. And that's because you just cut everybody off at the kneecaps. You're not supposed to take your own fans out at the kneecaps. You're supposed to take out the competition. So that's the only thing I want to say about that. All right. Phone lines are closed for the night. Lauren McQuaig, I appreciate your message. Mile marker. Hi out there. He says, won't you hit like and also share and then copy? You don't have to send it, but it still counts good for the channel. Lions channels need all the help they can get. Hey, I appreciate that, mile marker. I appreciate you, man. Love it. Peter Braley says, should have waited 1 year to raise ticket prices if they had to. I get that we've been kind of the bottom barrel of ticket prices for a long time, but doesn't that kind of coincide with the product on the field? I think it does. And if you're not winning ball games, you really can't charge, a whole lot, to be a franchise that's not winning. And now we've won 10 games. What does that mean? I mean, I get it that this was the time of the year that the renewals come out and, it just kind of happened to be coincidence with, after a big win against the Broncos. I get it. But there should have been some sort of a notice, that went out to say, hey, we're probably going to be raising prices. It, would have tempered things a little bit. Wouldn't have been a shock. But yeah, win something first. And I'm not saying then, hit everybody over the head again. If you would have won a Super Bowl and did this, people probably wouldn't have cared. But we haven't even won a playoff game. So, all right, Brent. Brent says 53 watching, 38 likes. Hit the like button. I appreciate it, Brent. I love it, man. And yeah, the other thing I noticed too, it's like I have like 83,000 new viewers or something like that a week. I don't have 83,000 subscribers. So I got to do something to get them to subscribe. I don't know what yet. We'll figure it out at some point. But all right, look, you guys have been great. Big game on Sunday. So cheers on. We got to pull it out. Lions are going to do well. I feel like the defense will play well. I don't think that Mullins is an issue. I do feel like we've got, like Rob even said, we've got to worry about Addison. Everybody knows, who Hawkinson is. And Jefferson's kind of a wild card. He hasn't done a whole lot this season. He's been injured quite a bit. We just don't know what he's going to bring. But it's time for Jared Goff to go cement his name, and build his legacy for this team. And it starts this Sunday with the help of St. Brown, the best rookie tight end in the league, Sam Laporta, and up and coming and could be the best rookie running back in the league, Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery, number 1 offensive line, number 2 offensive line, whatever we are now. Clearly, I think they're the best offensive line. But we got to cast the characters, man. St. Brown, Mr. Consistent. This team's going to go do it. They're going to do it in a big way. We're wrapping up the NFC North on Sunday. NFC crown is going to be the Detroit Lions. And I'll be right here at halftime to talk about it. And then again after the game to talk about it again. And I'm probably going to go on early this time after the game, probably within 30 minutes, or I might even start at the end of the fourth if we're winning. We'll see. I don't know if Derek is going to be going live or not. And if he is, I might wait to go on after him because he's going to be there and I'd rather see what he's bringing to the table. So, all right, y'all. I appreciate you. Go One Pride. Go Detroit Lions. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.